Welcome back to part 2 of this webinar series. Thank you for coming back. If you haven't done so, please like, subscribe, share, and also comment below. Thank you.
All right. Well, so I just thought I would talk about a few saving hacks. When planning your wedding. The first thing I have here is using a 0% interest credit card. Not many people have credit cards. I mean, if you don't have a credit card, and if you're thinking maybe I should get a credit card, I mean, the situation right now is a bit tricky. I know with loans, with credit cards, a lot of businesses, a lot of banks are not releasing any of this now. But using a 0% interest-free credit card is a good idea for venues or suppliers that allow you to do that. But then again, you have to make sure that you pay the balance of that credit card by the 0% period, because if the 0% period ends, let's say next month, let's say 20th of February, you have to make sure you fulfill that payment by then, because what that does for you is should a business not be available anymore, or should anything happen, considering what's happened now with the COVID as well, then you have a peace of mind with the credit card. You can claim money back should you have to. But this is something that you have to discuss with your partner again in terms of credit cards. The other thing as well is, don't feel pressured to pay any vendor. So if you've spoken to a vendor, you possibly like them, the way they've spoken to you on the phone, you're happy to go with them, and you're like, okay, yes, I'm ready to pay them now. Don't feel too much pressure to do that straight away, because you just never know. It's always good to have 2 to 3 vendors that you can speak with and discuss prices and get comfortable with, make sure this is the right person for you. And once you have that, confident that this is the person I want to go for, then yeah, go ahead and pay. Because what you don't want is, you don't want to give a vendor 50% of your deposit, and then towards the line you realize, I don't want this vendor anymore, and then the vendor can't give you back the 50% you've paid, so you've lost money that way. So it's always good not to just jump into paying, just giving your money out like that. The other thing is, well, I've said before, tracking your budget would help you save money. I've also mentioned about new bank accounts, separating your everyday account from your wedding account. It's always good, so that you can see how much you're really spending. Because trust me, if you're able to just track it, if you're able to see things clearly, it would help you manage your budget, and it would help you save as well. And also, as a wedding planner, I do know that some wedding planners charge, some take commissions from vendors. So if a photographer charges £2,000, some wedding planners would take £200 off the photographer, but not necessarily then give you that £200. So it's good to know where a wedding planner stands as well. Some wedding planners would save you money. So if photographer charges £2,000, as a wedding planner, it's possible that they could get you 10% off that photographer, because there might be some deals that preferred supplier list that they use, whereby you can get some discount, you can get some offers. So it's always good to know where that wedding planner stands, if they have anything like that with any vendor. So that way you can save money. And well, one final thing about saving money as well is using the same ceremony and reception venue. Because that way, if everything is in one venue, you can imagine, then you don't have to spend money on transport. You don't have to spend money on your transport. You don't have to spend money on the bridal party transport. So perhaps you have 10, 12, I mean, I've done a wedding with 14 bridesmaids. So that's 14 ladies and then 14 men. So you can imagine we had to hire 3 different cars for each of them, to take them from the hotel to the church, And then from the church to the reception venue. So that was three limos, because I think the limos could only take, there was a limit to the number of people they could take. So yes, we had to have 3 cars, and then not to talk about the car for the groom as well, and then the car for the bride as well. So yes, you could save money by just having your reception, your ceremony, all in one venue. And then finally, with saving, well, not really saving, but finally just talking about budgeting in general. Like I said from the beginning, Instagram, the pressure of Instagram has increased wedding budget to 50%. You don't want to be that person that gets pressured by what you see on Instagram. And also, you don't want to be that person that just wants to have a wedding because my friend did the same thing and my friend had the same thing. It's about the joy you feel on the day. No matter how much you spend on your wedding, it's about the happiness that you and your partner feel. After the wedding, it's about you and your partner after the wedding. It's the life after the wedding that matters. So no matter the amount you spend on your wedding, it's all about you. It's all about the joy that you feel. It's all about the peace that you feel within yourself. And I've also heard that a lot of people are taking out loans, or some people take out loans, to pay for their weddings. I mean, I'm no one to say don't do that, or but it's not advisable to get into a marriage with debt. Um, it's always good to just avoid getting loans, getting credit cards to pay for things. I know I said get 0% interest free, but that's for that reason. But not getting a credit card because you want to pay people, because well, if you get a credit card if you want to pay people, but just have at the back of your mind that you're going to pay it back in time with no charges, because you don't want to then use your credit card and then you have to pay the charges and the interest. It doesn't make sense. So it's all about you and your partner. It's about peace, it's about joy, it's about happiness. That's what matters for you on your wedding day and after the day. Okay, I'm just going to stop and go through some questions before I move on. So I'd like to share my screen and show you the budget manager tool I was talking about, to just have an idea of how it works and how different weddings work, different styles of weddings. So I'll just go through the question. Is it cheaper to get a dry hire venue? It really depends, because when you say dry hire venue, well, so this venue is it's basically dry. So some dry hire venues, again, well, so the two elements to this. Some dry hire venues would have a blank space, and when I say blank space, no tables, no chairs. So you have to hire in your tables and chairs. And then on top of that, you have to bring in your tablecloth, your decoration. So when you say, is it cheaper to hire a dry hire venue, it really depends. And then there are other dry hire venues that have got tables and chairs. And then the type of chairs depend as well. What type of chairs are you looking for? Do you just want banqueting chairs with chair covers? Or would you rather have a Chavari chair, whereby you'd have to, and this, well, minimum cost for this are like about £3.50 or £4. So going back to my guest list, so if you want those type of chairs, you're spending £4. If you have 100 guests, so that's £400 on chairs, just chairs alone. So it's really depends on what you're after, and whereby other venues, the venues that are not dry hire, which means some of them would not allow you to bring in your own suppliers. So you would have to go with their own suppliers, with their own food. They've got some of them, they've got tables and chairs that you would use. Less decoration will be required. So it really, really depends. I can't say yes or no to that answer. If it's cheaper to get a dry hire venue, it depends on your style of wedding. It depends on what you're after, what you're really looking for, before I can say yes or no. There are different elements to that question on whether it's cheaper or not. If you'd like to discuss more about this, feel free to contact me via my email, and we can arrange a consultation. So, well, thank you for the questions so far. So I think I'll just move on and share my screen so that I can show the budget manager tool I was talking about. But I hope you found this information useful so far. And again, thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening with me, and on Instagram as well. Thank you for joining me. So I'm just going to share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen. Just let me know if you can. Okay, good, you can. Well, unfortunately for you on Instagram, you won't be able to see my screen. Okay, so yeah, this is the budget tool that I'm talking about. As you can see for this wedding, so they've got a budget of 50. These are sample weddings, by the way. They're not actual weddings. Well, this one especially. So the budget is 50,000. And what happens is, what this tool does is, there is a percentage that's been fixed on this tool already based on experience, based on knowledge of working with different vendors. So for wedding planner, it depends on how much a wedding planner charges. Some wedding planners have a fixed price. Some charge by 10% to 15% of your wedding. So based on that, this tool would calculate based on what it is. So if it's 10%, that would be in there, and coordination fees. Some wedding planners, I'm just going to speak for myself. If you hire me as a full wedding planner, then my coordination fee, which is me being there on the day, is included in your wedding planning fee. So if your budget is £50,000 and I charge 10% of your total wedding spend, then my fee would be £5,000, whereby some would then be charging you extra for coming on the day. And also, when I mentioned earlier at the beginning, because some wedding planners, take commissions off the suppliers, it's always good to find that as well. Because what happens is, then you are paying more to the wedding planner in some way or the other. So yeah, it's always good to be mindful of that. So yeah, what this does, it just gives you an estimate. So for your budget of 50,000, you see estimate of £2,000, because what happens is, with your total budget, when I said at the beginning, venue, catering are the key things. So 40% of your budget, you should be really thinking that 40% of my budget will be going towards the venue and towards catering. So £50,000 already is taking my venue and catering already is going to be about £25,000 or £20,000. So that's a lot of money already. And then you move on to photos and videos, which can take 15% of your budget. So just going down here, as you see here, £2,000, and then that's how much they actually found for the venue. And then so it gives you a difference as well. Reception venue rentals, same as ceremony venue. So if yours is not, then you have to pay that, because some ceremony venues will charge you to use their venue for your ceremony. And on top of that, you have to think about registrar fee. To get married, I'm referring to being in London. To get married in London, you have to pay a registrant fee on top of your ceremony venue fee. So that's something to be mindful of as well. And then you've got your you've got beauty. So this tool lists out everything for you. Hair and makeup, bride plus 3 bridesmaids. So you have everything, stationaries. So it's got a detailed information about everything that should be included for your wedding. Yeah, so this is efficient, £200. So for this, as you can see, for this tool that I'm showing, venue was £2,000. So for this client, we can say that venue wasn't really too much of a big deal for them. But then if we then move down to photography is £4,000. So that means this person is saying, I want my photographer to come and capture the day for me in a beautiful manner. Like, I want it to be romantic. I want storytelling photography style. So they've gone ahead and paid £4,000 for their photography. So that's something to be mindful of. Catering is £15,000, and that's what I was saying. 40% of your budget will be going through with venue and catering. And then, yeah, so just moving on like that, you just have You have all of that. Childcare, you know, that's something to consider for some. Rentals and decor for £4,000, and this can go up to £10,000 depending on what your style of wedding is, depending on what you're looking for. Fresh flowers or not, candles everywhere, you know. So it all really depends on what you want. So this tool will list out everything for you, and like I mentioned, so this is just for a white ceremony. This doesn't include a typical African wedding whereby you have two separate ceremonies. So I'm just going to show you another budget of a typical African wedding. Just quickly, can I just, okay. So this is a typical African wedding with two ceremonies, traditional and white wedding. And what tends to happen is a lot of people, you know, have a big number of guests for their traditional wedding, and then they reduce the number of guests for their white wedding. So doing that way, the traditional wedding, they might have different elements of what they're looking for. They might then reduce, you know, decoration, you know, don't put too much effort into decoration, give people food and drinks. And then at the white wedding, reduce the number of guests, and then decoration will be something they love, and then food will be something they love. So it's you could have it either way. Spend more money on my traditional, or spend less money on my white wedding. So it's really up to you which one is more important to you. So for this, so you've got all the listed items again. So this would list out your wedding dress. It would list out your traditional outfit. And as an African, as a Nigerian and Ghanaian, once we have a traditional wedding, we dress up once and then we change like 2-3 times. So, you know, it's good to list out, you list out all of that. So you have outfit 1, outfit 2, outfit 3. You've got the traditional beads that you use. So this tool would list out everything for you. You can see everything in details. So you and your partner can sit down and go through this. You can really see where you're spending more money, where you're spending less money. Okay, when I talked about non-negotiable items, where can we take off something here and can we put it over there? So that's what this tool would do for you. It would help you, you know, prioritize things. It would help you put things in place. And again, as your wedding planner, this is something that I use. And also I'm going to be developing one soon. I'm going to be releasing on my website. So if you don't have a wedding planner, if it's something you'd like to use, you'll be able to download it on my website. And this will be free of charge just because you're joining this webinar today. Yeah, and then you have stationaries. So this is what I was talking about: ceremony venue, reception venue. This could mean, so for your traditional wedding, you know, you would have to pay for your traditional venue, because when Africans were multicultural weddings, what happens is people tend to have the traditional wedding on a Thursday and then the white wedding on a Saturday. So you're paying two different venues on this day. So it's always good to have that at the back of your mind, because sometimes when people talk about wedding budget, they only focus on the white wedding and forget about the traditional wedding. But it's always good to make sure that you put account into both. You and your partner discuss both weddings, because they are weddings. I mean, you're celebrating both days anyway, so you want to be able to put a budget to both of them. So yeah, so this is what a typical multicultural wedding would look like. This could be a Nigerian wedding, it could be a Ghanaian wedding. So this is what it would look like. Again, you see that catering just takes a lot of your budget, and venue, it does take a lot. But next month I will be discussing choosing your food. I keep saying food, but catering, choosing your catering and cake suppliers. So, you know, with the catering, they will be able to go into more details on what's required, what they look at. Because with catering, you have different elements to think about as well. Plated service, buffet, family style. So all of that pays, you know, it determines how much your wedding, your catering will be for. So that's always important. So next month, all of that will be discussed more in details. So you can see entertainment does cost a lot as well. So if you're saying you want your guests to come and have the best time of their life, you want to provide them with the best entertainment, then you have to be really mindful of how much that can cost as well. Transportation for this is zero. This could possibly be that the ceremony and the reception venue is in the same place, so that saves the couple, zero amount on transportation. And then you have decor, you have florals, so there's always a lot to think about, and it's always good to just break it down. And just based on the information that's been inserted into this tool, the actual budget is coming up to £70,000, and this is for a white wedding and a traditional wedding. So this is something that, again, this is depending on the style of your wedding. So this is the style of this wedding. This person wants a luxury wedding. This person wants I wouldn't say perfect, but they want a luxury wedding. They want a wedding true to their heart. So this is how much they're willing to spend on this wedding. Are you willing to spend this much money on your wedding? If no, then there is no problem. There's always room for you to spend within your budget. And also in this current situation that we're in now, if you're thinking, I want to have a small wedding, and what I'm trying to say here is you can have a small wedding and still have the best wedding of your life. Having a small wedding doesn't mean that you have to go small on the budget. You can have a small wedding with 15 guests, 30 guests, and believe me, you can still spend £70,000 if you want to. if that's the budget you have for that wedding, then you could do that. You could get the best venue, you could get the best florals, you could get food, you could feed your guests from morning to the end of the night. So yes, like I said before, it doesn't matter about how much you spend on your wedding. It's about the joy you feel within you. It's the peace you have within yourself. That's what matters the most. So every wedding has its own budget. Every wedding has its own, what they spend on it. So it's really, really up to you. So this is a typical multicultural wedding on how much the person, and please, I don't want you to think that, oh, my wedding is going to cost £70,000. Please don't feel like that. If you want your wedding to cost £30,000, it's possible, it's doable. As a wedding planner, I'm a very honest person. If you speak to me and you tell me this is my budget, I will speak to you honestly and tell you if it's going to work or not. Based on the questions I ask you, I have to speak to you. I have to know what you're really after. What style of wedding are you looking for? I would ask you questions. Whose wedding have you been to recently? Who were the vendors at this wedding? Based on that, I would know and tell you, I'm sorry, your budget cannot work. I would tell you right there and then. I don't like to just, mislead people and tell people it would work when it wouldn't. So because it's always good to just be honest right from the start. So just be mindful of this. So I'm just going to stop sharing and see if I've had any more questions. And just what I can see that I've got 4 minutes left. So if you have any more questions on that tool or anything else, please let me know. But just finally, I just thought I would touch briefly on destination weddings, because there's a lot of people think that, okay, having a destination wedding is cheaper. Again, it really depends. There's nothing is cheaper really. You can have a £30,000 wedding in London, and you could also have a £30,000 abroad anywhere. And when I'm talking about abroad, I'm talking about European countries or even Jamaica or anywhere like that. Just using examples of destinations wedding that I've worked on. So a Portugal wedding for 130 guests could cost between 11,000 to £15,000. And this cost is mainly just for food, the venue hire, and drinks. So this is 11 to 15,000 for 130 guests. If you want to have that in London, it is possible, depending on the style of wedding you want. But bear in mind that this cost does not include accommodation, it doesn't include flight, and it depending on your style of wedding. Again, do you want your guests to have the best time of their life? Do you want to provide accommodation for them? Do you want to provide food for them? So having a destination wedding, it's really different. Like, you have to really have different factors. a Santorini wedding for 40 guests costs £30,000. So yeah, destination weddings can be cheap or expensive. It really depends on your style where you have that. So I think I'm going to stop talking now. If there are no any questions, anyone, are we all good? Thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, next month. Oh, okay. 1 second. Okay, well, if you're on Instagram, you can watch a replay of this on my YouTube channel, or even if you'd like to go back on the information that I've shared, you can go on my YouTube channel, the RIAH Experience, and you'll be able to catch up on all of this that I've said. So next month, the series continues again next month on the 21st of February, where we'll be talking about how to choose your cake and catering suppliers. And also, like I mentioned from the beginning, I'll be releasing a budget manager tool. So if you have any specific requirements that you think could help with this tool, please do send in an email. My email is contact@riahevents.com. Please do feel free to share, this webinar with anybody that you think would benefit from this. And thank you again for spending your Sunday afternoon, your Sunday evening with me. And I'll see you again next month, February 21st at 4 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening and see you soon. Take care.